How's it going, bro? Welcome
I'm.
everyone to. Oh, sorry.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry.
No,
Sorry.
I was gonna do like a big intro and then let you go in after that. But no, just welcome to Geektastic Cypher, your nerd podcast of the week. I hope every Wednesdays here on the YouTube's live, and you're gonna be re-released on Fridays. Jaws, how you doing, man?
I'm good. I'm good, Dave. And how about you?
Not bad, man. It's been a freaking week. I could tell you that. It's been a
Ups and
freaking week.
downs.
Ups and downs. So many damn emotions in this weird nerd life that we live in. It's and it affects everywhere. Whether it's as wrestlers or as freaking nerds of Comic Con, like which actually wrestlers invaded Comic Con. There's actually a side note with AWW that we could say after this, but I think we got to hit this big news.
Go for
Although
it.
there was a lot of things going on, I think the concept for us, the new CEO and talent relations, the two newly appointed places in WWE, Stephanie McMahon being the new co-CEO and Triple H officially being head of talent relations.
Mm-hmm.
After this whole Vince thing happened, which was just like, let's just be honest, like to
Yeah.
a certain degree, I don't like to ever say it's good when something dies, but maybe a certain degree of like fraternity in that organization may have hopefully finally died in that, because we all know, I mean, anyone who reads the dirt sheets and knows how to read between the lines, like there's things.
Well, I mean, it's not even dirt sheets anymore. It's like Wall Street Journal was coming out like, "Hey, we got some really big bombshells to really set it off on the WWE." And then it was really interesting because the way Vince left, he didn't just leave on the Friday. He left when the markets closed in the States, and then he released something and then bounced as to like not shake up the stock. Basically, at least that's what it seems like. I mean, from what I've been seeing and reading and listening,
he does anything for $1. I think we could agree on that.
Very, very much calculated. He's not. He's crazy, but I don't think he's stupid.
I don't think he's insane. He's crazy, but he's not insane. Like a crazy person just does crazy things.
Yeah,
but
he's definitely calculated. It's definitely like, okay, there's a lot of heat on me right now. And also, WWE is a publicly traded company now, so they have a board. They have somebody to answer to. They have people that are expecting money from them for investing in them. So, from what I was reading and seeing, it's definitely the board either pushed him out, or people are like, "Hey, man, you got to like step down before everything hits the fan." And so that's what it seems like. And I'm surprised. I'm surprised, shocked, and kind of happy that Triple H has the position he has now, because he got fired from it not too long ago. No, he got like he
was in a like he was head of like everything in NXT. So this is funny. So obviously, let's do a little timeline, right? Like obviously they do NXT. It is Hunter's baby. That thing goes off the rails. It even gets to the point where they're getting indie guys and like showing WWE basically that these indie guys are actually really, really good.
Yeah, exactly.
They're different. They are really if it wasn't for NXT, there wouldn't be different shapes in WWE right now. And I mean actual shapes, because there was always like a cookie cutter type style they wanted the wrestlers to be. And because the performance center / NXT took in anyone who was more committed to, I find, like the craft, as opposed to like making $1. You just have all these like pretty consistently good wrestlers that, as long as you don't bury them in horrible storyline, because like we can name a bunch of people like, oh yeah, this didn't do good. I'm like, oh yeah, do you remember what they gave him? Like exactly. How was he supposed to survive?
Like, what was the guy that they kept giving crap to, and he just kept making gold out of it?
Was it Sandow, I think?
Yeah, it was.
Like, it even got to a point where, like, straight up, like, so first of all, he killed it. Like, honestly, the beginning of Sandow's run, which is a perfect example, it's like, you could tell he had talent. All you had to do was, like, identify the talent, identify the strengths and weaknesses, which he had so many strengths at the time. Because he's gone downhill, because I think he maybe down right now on the indies, he's probably become bitter about the whole thing that happened to his career. But to say, that's a whole other discussion. But he had a great gimmick and everything, and then they're like, oh, we're lazy now. And it went degraded, went to the Miz, then went to the Chameleon or Morph. Every week they gave him, they're like, oh, you did that impression good. Let's do another impression. He's like, okay. And then everyone's like up on it, and they're like, we'll do another. And he's like, okay, and then he kills it. And you're like guys, like I'm good at my job.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
we just like you gave me money in the bank. I don't know why you made me lose. I didn't make that decision. And since then I've been getting shit, but like I was gold before. What do you want
Yeah.
from me? We don't like you, you're fired. What?
Doesn't make any sense.
It didn't make any sense.
And
Really
the fact that he's supposed to be second banana to the Miz, and then he gets bigger than the Miz
and then
in
he
that
does the
role.
Miz. Then he does the Miz in the role because he then starts impersonating him. Like it's oh man. But anyway, so back to it. Like, well, first of all, so all that to be said, like hopefully the reign of Vince is like gone and past. Although some people online have speculated that like
nothing's really changed.
Nothing's changed. He's controlling Stephanie and Hunter, which is potential.
Yeah.
Because
even though when this thing with him and the allegations and stuff started coming out, he basically kind of stopped. I guess he stopped going to work, but he was still kind of in charge of stuff. It was very weird. And then he finally, okay, I'm retiring.
Yeah, it's basically he was like, but did you? It basically is like, how long can I do this? And then he realized, like, no, I can't fuck around. Oh no, I'm gonna ruin it all.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, because like he went on both Raw and SmackDown the week it was announced just to say hi.
Yeah, so I remember I was seeing a meme online where I guess he looks like he's skipping off the ring or something down the stairs, and then people are putting him in like double Dutch scenarios, just cropping him into a bunch of different stuff of him, just like it's just having fun. And I'm like, what the heck's going on?
But like, anyways, I don't want to talk about the speculation of that because I find
or it could be complete work.
Yeah,
complete work.
Imagine no.
Well, what's
no,
even funny, like what's even funnier is that people are bringing up all this old stuff, like, oh, remember the WWF magazine where like there's a picture of Steph on it, and she has like her dad's picture, and she's like putting a flame to it. And it's like, oh, there's a new boss in town, and and there's another one where it's her and Triple H have their arms up in the air, and Vince is like dead on the floor in the ring,
like on a match.
Yeah, just everyone just digging up all this old stuff, just like
But because like, but all kidding aside, I mean, I don't know how Stephanie's gonna do as a CEO. I mean, co-CEO, because like I think they made her because like that's the other thing, like they didn't make her just CEO, right? They made it a double thing, which maybe it's because of the obvious option of like, you know, she is technically young. She potentially is not in this role, like has never been per se complete charge. So it's like, yo, you might need to have an assistant or something like that. I don't know.
I remember who is the guy running WCW?
Eric Bischoff?
Eric Bischoff, yeah. So I remember apparently he said when he got fired from WWE, you know, after, you know, whatever, like, I mean, obviously, he said Steph was the one that fired him. And he was like, that was the most polite firing I've ever gotten. It wasn't get the hell out of here, you know, pack your stuff. It was just like, hey, you know, obviously, you know, it's, you know, and like it was just smooth. So
it was like it had class. You know what I mean? Because that's the one thing I find. I mean, based off of like, you know, these stories that they say in the background of like, you know, it's a boys club and this and that, and you know, your best friend and all that stuff. Like maybe the concept of like softening the administrative tasks and like leave the violence to the ring because that's what we're paying you for would be met because like wrestling has been known to also be a potential hard working environment. Obviously, like the traveling alone is always hard, but like you've heard, I mean, there's so many like, you know, suicides or drug abuse or so on,
or like
and so
you can't
forth.
wrestle again. Like I think was it Edge couldn't, like, if you wrestle again you couldn't use his arm. I don't even know if that was like an actual thing, but like well, like DDP coming out with DDP yoga, and people that I think Jericho said he had a back issue and kind of came back from that and everything like that. So you know, it's tough on your body. You're just doing stunts not every day, but like, you know, I guess it's three times a week, or twice a week. And then,
well, it depends, right? Because I mean, I don't know, because obviously the pandemic changed everything. I don't know what their schedule is now, but if before pandemic, remember, these people were wrestling like I remember some of them saying like 300 days a year. Like you're wrestling
Oh
at
wow.
300 days a year. It's like, well, I mean, even if because
Even
there's
the
the
house shows too.
yeah, because you have to include that, right? Because like you're saying, if you're only on one show, you wrestle once a week on that, or you appear on that show.
Yeah.
But like, how many house shows do they do? Some wrestlers have mentioned like, sometimes it's not that you do. Sometimes you're lucky because you do multiple in a day, but you get the next day off, so it's just like less of an impact on your body.
Right.
But you get the rest, but you're like, so.
And all these guys that like, oh, this guy's out. Oh my goodness, this guy took him out, and then like they're out recovering or something. They wrote him out of the show so he could recover or something like that.
Yeah,
so that's pretty crazy too.
Yeah, but her as a CEO, I mean, I hope it will be better than Vince.
But from my understanding, I think the person that's coing, I think they were in charge as well. I think his last name is Khan or something. I could be wrong.
Nick Khan, I think is his name.
Yeah, and I think they got ousted, fired, or something, and then they got brought back in.
Yes.
So I think that's pretty interesting too.
Well, because maybe it was one of her guys that got fired or something, and then she's like, well, now if I'm taking it back, then this is someone I want on the team. You know what I mean? Like that's why there's like, obviously people are probably going to be weirded out maybe at times between, Triple H and Steph being married, obviously, but like I think they've learned how to be probably professional like that over the years. They probably had to learn how to do that.
Yeah, exactly. Especially like you're marrying the boss's daughter. Like, you
there's a lot of things you got to learn. The boundaries are real quick.
Yeah, it's always really tough.
But him as talent relations and creative, it's creative. He said of creative, not talent relations. He said of creative. Well, and I think that's also talent.
Well, it's both, no?
Yeah, I'm actually. Hold on. Give me a double.
Has taken control of WWE creative. So the newest meme is Triple H is taking control of WWE creative, and Triple H at next week's event, and he just has all the belts. like all the belts. Like you can't even see his body. He has the Raw and the SmackDown tag team belts. He has the Universe. He has the women's belt. He has the NXT belt. The Cruiserweight. He's just all the belts.
But yeah, he says. But apparently, he'll resume all, like you said, all responsibilities related to creative. Which, like, if you think about it, I'm like, I imagine they're not going to make a super shock right away because, like, they do have TV deals, right? They do have like. We need to make sure that we maintain a certain.
Yeah, they're making money. They're a $1 billion company right now.
But like, if things were to go to plan, in what I would assume is Triple H's mind, because this has to be like the biggest, like now all of it is NXT. You know what I mean? I feel because the one thing that I feel that Triple H did properly in NXT, he properly made it a brand that felt like its own territory. Let's see.
Yeah,
right,
for sure.
Like because that's territories we're all doing wrestling, but we do wrestling differently. That's the whole reason why there's like there's Mexican wrestling, there's Japanese wrestling, there's British style wrestling, so on and so forth. And with this, he was able to make a different brand. I think Triple H, if they let him do what he wants, they could like. One of their problems has always been like Raw and SmackDown are the exact same show. You try to do a draft, you try and make it unique, and it never worked. You know what I mean? It just never worked. And how I think is like if you give Triple H like the ability to be like, I can make them different. I know how to make them different. I made my show different. And like to be quite, it's like I think with Triple H, and you don't have to be as drastic as like NXT because like when you used to watch NXT. Well, except for the new NXT 2.0, which is just trash, and everyone knows that it's trash. Did you watch it? Did you watch it?
No, I haven't got a chance to watch it.
It's so like. Have you ever seen an NXT ever?
The older NXT, a little bit here and there.
But it was gritty kind of camera, gritty colors. Right. Now it's like neon everything.
Oh no!
Like the intro is this neon paint splashing on the NXT, and it makes it NXT, and you're like, oh god, no.
This is not what I wanted.
Like, no, this is not TGIF Fridays. What is this? What the hell's happening? But if first of all, I hope he would fix NXT back
Mm.
to what it was, but I think that he would be able to properly listen to people, properly understand the concept of like they all can't be the same,
Yeah.
and titles aren't the important, the people are the important, the people make the titles, and we're gonna
Mhm.
fix that because
Yeah.
like so many titles and so many things that are happening now with things. I mean, don't get me wrong, you obviously have reliable wrestlers. Roman Reigns, regardless of whether or not I like him about how the position he's done in,
Mhm.
him as tribal chief has been always good whenever I have watched it and seen him.
Okay. That's good to hear that he's like he's getting
Yeah,
like
but
he's there. Like he's
yeah,
you know what I
but like
mean?
but let's make it clear, he was there because they kind of
No, but I
he
mean
did a John Cena. You
mhm,
put him in this position, and so many people hated him because, no offense, like he wasn't that great at the time for what he
mhm.
was given. I'm not
Yeah,
saying
yeah.
he's not great. I'm just saying, like, for at that time, you're handing him out. Like, when you're like, well, we don't do anything, you're like, he's had every single tight end, won the Royal Rumble, and he's been here for like 5 minutes. What are you talking
Yeah.
about?
There's
You
no
know?
build up to him. He's just boom. He leaves the Shield and then boom.
Exactly. Like it was insta God mode, basically.
Right.
He's saying that now. That's actually a stick of his, or was a stick of his in his new persona at one point. Like, I'm in God mode. I'm like, you've been God mode since they fucking signed the check. Like, what the hell are you talking about? It's been since day one. It's been
Yeah.
since day one.
But no, what I mean is that I remember everyone was. I guess he's kind of a heel now. I'm not sure how they.
Now
Uh,
he's the biggest heel. He's the John, as John Cena
don't
was
see it.
a face. He's the equivalent of a heel.
Oh, okay. Because I remember people were saying like make him a heel. Like he'll be good as a heel. He already has the heat. You just have to
Mhm.
make that slight change. Like he
Yeah,
already has the heat. You don't even need him to become like just make him a bad guy. That's it.
yeah,
That's all you need to do.
exactly. And
It's
the one
already there.
Yeah, and the thing that I always found funny is that now when you watch him as a heel, I find he's much more comfortable. He's much
Mm.
more like, oh, I don't have to say words like suffering succotash, which he did say one
Yeah,
time.
they wrote that for him.
No, Vince wrote that for him. Which is another reason why good thing the king is dead in this scenario. I'm sorry, I don't want to be mean.
Yeah, I was hearing that I guess there's gonna be more transparency. I guess they're gonna you know, if there's people that are good on the mic, if there's wrestlers that are good on the mic, we're hoping that they'll just let them be good on the mic. You don't have to write for them. They just let them do their thing if they're
Mhm.
already good at it. So let's hope it gets better. Let's hope that we get some more creativity and it's just not just okay, this is bland. All right.
Yeah, well, that's exactly it. Because on NXT, that's another thing with NXT. Like you find that they're, and I'm not trying to say like NXT was super and like Raw and SmackDown aren't. Raw and SmackDown do have their go-to people, but it's more it's not the performers.
Mm,
It's the direction. It's the director in this scenario, because
right.
people could say it was the writers. Like, no, Vince would be the director. Everything
Mhm.
went through him, and he had his way of doing things, and his way of doing things was like really good for obviously a significant period of time.
Yeah.
Like, like let's be honest, like with the exception of like what 2 years of
Mhm.
having to fall behind WCW in that famous like what 183-week streak that they beat them or something like that.
Okay.
Like with the exception of that, your brand has survived and been the number one thing from like the 80s, more
Mergers
or
and
less.
acquisitions time.
Yeah, like you had the 80s where you were born, and until now,
Mhm.
like like, well, sorry, I would say that in regards to product, maybe since like 2015, it was like somewhere between 2010 and 2015. I'm not saying their product's been bad, but it's been since that time that it was like it's a certain way.
Right.
And I find that certain way is very, like, it was stifling the performers. I found, like,
Mhm.
I don't know, I know some people like, I'm like me, I know some, it's like a very thin line. It's either you are WW and you aren't WWE. For me, it's just like, you guys have all the talent in the world, but like you had a really old crazy guy at the helm. Let's just be honest. And like although mad genius in this business, and I respect, like, because like without him, we wouldn't have this business, right? So I respect
Right.
that 100%. But like, there's a certain time where it's like, I'm not saying you have to put Lassie in the backyard or whatever it is, through the gun to the
Oh, you
back of
mean
the
you don't have to
head.
what is it? You don't have to
Old Yeller, Old
Old
Yeller.
Yeller, yeah, you don't have to put down Old Yeller.
Yeah, you don't have to do that, but like, right. You know, like it's like it was a scenario where like I remember like when that suffering succotash thing happened. That's when I'm like I'm officially that was the time I was like I'm no longer watching the main. I will only watch NXT where he cannot touch. And since it was 2.0, I'm like I'm not even watching that. This is ridiculous. And yeah, man, it's been for wrestling news. It's been the juiciest in regards to the back, like in the back than it's ever been. It's been insane.
Yeah, it's been pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Oh boy, new dawn. Hopefully,
a new dawn. and just because
we just hired somebody new. His name is Vince McFan.
Hey guys,
hello my fellow
glasses.
Hello my fellow youths. Just like
he's wearing the band. He's wearing the do-rag that he wore back in the day. Like you know. No. Oh my god! Like
he's doing this weird walk. Oh my goodness! No.
I can't. I need a moment to compose myself.
Vince McFan.
Oh my god! But you know but again, like you know, who knows where they're gonna grow, because these things transcend. Like even like I said before, like they even go to Comic-Con. Like I don't know if you watch too much of the Comic-Con stuff, but example, there's AEW, which I think you know of.
Yeah.
So there was like a panel where one of the guys were just doing his thing, and he's like a guy who's like a bit more he's like the ultimate baby face. His name is Darby Allin, and like he connects with people. He's like kind of like one of the smaller guys. It's obvious, like you know, he's like by actual size, and he was doing like a panel, and then like his current feud is with his name is Malachi Black. He was Aleister Black in WWE, but he got like they let him go, and then AEW took him and like, yeah, do whatever you want. And now he's been making good stuff since then. It's him and this other guy who's like this like giant sized person who he's brooding with, and they just like bust in on the panel, like
nice.
And like the guy doesn't have any time to react. So one of the reasons why the feud started was like the bigger guy. They were in a oh man, what's his name? It's killing me. Anyways, I know it's gonna come to me. It's Brody King. That's his name. His name's Brody King, and like they were in a Royal Rumble, and how he eliminated him. He dragged him out of the he went onto the apron with him, and like put him in a sleeper hold. Turned away from the apron so he was dangling. Like waited and then like let him go. That's how the feud started. And he jumps up behind him on stage, does that. Then they both like throw him on the table, like beat him up on the table. Then put him like nicely on the table, like as if he's like, you know, asleep or in like I guess funeral type styles.
Yeah.
Then they sit down and like because like the bigger guy, he's more he's not the leader. The Malachi Black guy is the leader, and he looks like a very mean, sinister guy.
Yeah,
and he's just there, he's like, any questions? And then the whole crowd starts like laughing and clapping and
so
going
good.
crazy. And you're like,
I love when they do spots out in the open like that. Like I remember when WWE had like the 24/7 belt. I don't know if you saw. I don't know if you remember that.
Gosh, you remember that?
I thought it was hilarious. I just thought it was stupid. I just laughed at it all the time. They also did it I think they did it they didn't do it at a Comic-Con. They did it at a signing. So I think JR Truth is signing stuff, and then a sick kid comes up to him, but it turns out it turns out the sick kid is one of the wrestlers. He comes up and he starts beating him, and JR just grabs his belt and runs away. There was another one where they were going to they were going to go do the champion thing in not Dubai, in Emirates, and they're getting on the plane, and I think JR Truth is sleeping, and they're like trying to like sneak up on him on the plane as they're flying, and like they open up his thing, and it's like it's pillows. Like, wait, where's JR? And they see he's like behind them, like, and he starts running, and he locks himself into a toilet on the plane.
Well, there's one I remember seeing one.
I just like it when it's silly and fun. I don't like. Well, I do like it when it's very serious, but like have a little silliness and fun. Because I mean, come on. I mean,
because there was also he got attacked once on a golf course. He once got attacked on the golf course, and if memory serves correct, and this is where I might be wrong, I'm pretty sure he found that person again on the golf course, beat him again, and took. Oh no! Wait, was that? Because there was one time, I forget. It may have been, and it was one of these more elaborate skits. But there was one time where he got beat up. He beat somebody up, and then like something happened to like knock him out, and like a celebrity took the belt.
Oh man, no!
I gotta find this.
Because that also reminds me of when I don't know if you remember when Booker T and Stone Cold fought in the supermarket. Do you remember that? I can't remember if it was a match or not. They were fighting in a super. It was a match because I think it's just so absurd. And then the referee has to be there. The referee has to be there. It has to be sanctioned, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But doesn't it start where like Booker T's like looking around, he's making sure no one's there, and then he's like taking something off a shelf, and then he turns and it's just Stone Cold staring at him, and he's like, "What the?" And the fight starts. I think they made it to the cash register, and then Stone Cold's like, "Clean up on all five," and he just starts wailing on him in the milk section or something.
So here's the one I want to say. So it was Rob Stone. Rob Stone is a like a commentator on sports on Fox Sports. And what happened is it took place on one of their like football sets where they're doing like an interview or whatever.
Right.
The title what happened is basically people were chasing him, and like he was trying to hide, and something happened that knocked R-Truth out, and he was just like, and he pinned them. He had it for a total of that day, because then after that, apparently Elias, another wrestler, took it from him.
Oh, okay.
There was another time. This is so great. I have like them all listed. There's another time that Eanes Carter, who is a Switzerland basketball player, his picture shows that has played on the Celtics. I don't know if he does now, but this took place on main event. It's like one of their Saturday shows or whatever. But still, nonetheless, you're just like, what is the nonsense? Well, I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't think it's. There's a lot of girls who have taken this title, which I'm not against girls fighting for this title at all. I'm not. But I'm just like, it shows that Santa Claus has won this title. There's a guy who played Santa Claus who won the title on December 22nd. In the same episode. That's ridiculous.
I gotta get this belt before I deliver these toys to these kids.
Oh my god. Kyle Thompson Bush, an American stock car driver, won it. Like this list is ridiculous.
Like,
Austin, Mike Rome. I don't.
Who?
Do you Mike Rome, an American television host, ring announcer? I don't know. Maybe he's one of the announcers there. Oh no, I think he's one of the announcers like in the
WWE.
In the WWE. Sorry. Yeah.
But I was gonna say that like how they don't make the belts all that important anymore. Like this belt could be the unimportant belt, but it's just a gimmick belt. Like just do that.
But isn't there like a limit though? Don't you think there's a limit to the silliness of what you could do to a belt? Like, again, just to name another, Rob Gronkowski, who's like a
football player.
Yeah, like he also like. Oh man!
But I mean, like if you,
I almost thought that it said Cedric the Entertainer. I thought it said that, but it was Cedric Alexander, which is another wrestler, so that's okay.
Okay.
But for a second, I was gonna freak out.
No, I'm just saying that like if it's just one belt that's ridiculous, then that's fine. You just you relegate it to that one belt, and then you make everything else important and everything like that. But I mean, like just having just the ridiculousness of that belt is the gimmick belt. This is the belt that celebrities could get. It just feels weird to like, oh hey, we Snoop Dogg got the Universe belt because we're doing a promotion or stuff. It just seems. I mean, I know I don't think they do that. I mean, I know celebrities get on in the Hall of Fame, but I don't think they actually win belts or anything like that.
No, I don't. Well, I mean, no. If you want to like. An old custom used to be if you won a belt, you would get a replica of the belt whenever you'd win, right? I don't know if they necessarily do that anymore. Maybe you do that for your first time holding like a specific belt or something. I bet, but they give away belts all the time, so I wouldn't be surprised if they get them as like if you ask for it, you probably get it. You know,
Okay.
every time. Like I know that I'm pretty sure it's football and basketball. They always give. There's a sport every year they give the champions a title belt, and I think it's multiple sports. Oh, by the way, I don't. Do you remember the gobbledygooker or the gobbledygoogler or whatever?
The gobbledygooker. I think.
Gobbledygooker. That's it. You're right. You're laughing. You should be laughing. You want to know why? He had the title, October 22nd, 2020. They
brought him back to get the stupid belt.
Just to get the belt.
But that's a deep cut. That's a deep cut, man. That's a deep cut. Like I don't even remember the guy. I only remember it just because people brought it up. What was that? What was that show they had on WWE? What was it called? Their YouTube channel before they got their streaming service. There was like a show where they were like, oh, here's all the silly crap that we did, and
I know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about.
Road Dog was on it, and then he had a puppet that was Triple H, and he kept saying, "Lemmy's my best friend," right?
but dude, okay, I'm gonna stop saying them after this because I basically went through the list, but you have to hear this.
Go.
Peter Rosenberg, radio disc jockey, whatever. Doug Flutie, which is like a really pop.
No, we don't whatever Rosenberg. No, we don't whatever Rosenberg.
Skinny has entered the
Rosenberg.
Skinny has entered the ring. He has grabbed the mic.
But
here my kid is quiet. That's only that.
So it's Peter Rosenberg. It's then Doug Flutie, and the last celebrity, Bad Bunny, freaking had this title.
Bad Bunny.
Think of how. I'm not saying he can't, but what we're trying to say, you just joined the cast, but
I've been here. I've been listening.
But like, then why are you?
I'm just
saying.
Not
review this list is crazy. Of celebrities
that held the 24-hour belt.
It's a 24/7 title to replace a hardcore title. Whatever they do, they do.
I don't think there's anything hardcore about the gobbledygook having the belt.
Yeah, but the ways in which they win it.
You see all the blood coming off of the gobbledygook. He's clearly razoring.
Well, mostly at the end of the hardcore titles run, it ended up just being like the 24/7 title where you just run up, hit somebody with like a minor move, and then pin them.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
But I hated that. If we're gonna talk about that for a second, I always hated that the hardcore title became a all the time title. I understand why they did it at the time, but they should have stopped that. They did a good job on its own.
Yeah. You're not wrong. And she agrees too. She agrees too.
But what's it called? Did you guys, to switch gears a bit, Comic-Con Phase 5?
Oh, I'm Comic-Con out. Oh my god.
No, you can't do that now.
All the toys. All the toys.
I was so Comic-Con out by the time that shit it rolled around. I was like, oh yeah, Hall H. Right. There's that. There's that chestnut.
I was just looking at all the toys, man. Me and my friends were like, oh, do you see these toys? These toys. Here's this. Here's that.
Yeah, man. The toys are great. NECA killed it. Hasbro did something, which was cool.
Lots of Transformers.
Lots of Transformers. Oh my god.
Oh, what about the Legends?
Legends is all right. It wasn't anything like woo. It was really less like, okay, here we're just putting out these like. What it is that they started doing this whole like non-plastic box thing. So it really, really, really takes you out of it when you're getting these figs and they're in this like cardboard box and you're not sure if the one that you have inside is like missing eye paint or something. You really I've seen like few reviewers get like take theirs out of the package and like whole sides of the bodies are just like missing paint. Right? So you're like, all right. So they're announcing these Legends and you're like, okay, this is cool. Sure, like they announced, well, I'll get into the Wakanda Forever wave, but they announced that later. They showed She-Hulk. That's all right. Few repaints, and then after that, it was really just it. Like there wasn't anything like new to kind of announce. So
I guess like all the Thor Love and Thunder stuff is like I guess repaints of stuff that's already out. I guess
Thor Love and Thunder stuff dropped prior, and a lot of it was like what it is that they get the kind of preliminary shots or test kind of art before, and then they make the toys off of that, and then when the movie comes out, they're either on point or drastically off. So
Yeah, because I guess the movie's still in production, not
right,
even post-production. So
exactly. So
they're
even
still
with the
filming and stuff can get dropped and
exactly, even with the
reshot.
Wakanda Forever figs, like those, they put those out, but those could not even those may not be the final shots or final looks of the characters. So it's really just kind of, I don't know. Maybe I've not had my fill with legends and reveals, but I think I was just more into other things this year. But doubling back to Hall H and those announcements, I felt like not that it was weak, but it was like,
Thank you.
yes, you agree
Ooh,
with
That's
me.
an
Thank
agreement.
you.
She's
Not
like,
that it
no,
was,
what are you talking about?
not that it was weak, but it was more or less like she's blowing kisses now. It's hilarious.
No.
Look at her, she's blowing kisses. But yeah,
Eh.
it's not that it was weak. It was so much just that
it
they're
was
like, oh yeah,
underwhelming.
Wakanda Forever is the end of Phase 4. People are like, wait, what? And then they're like, and then Phase 5 has this and this and this and this and this and this, and we're capping it off with these two Avengers movies, which was, what was the last time they said they were
You're
going to
not.
cap?
No, they're not. No, they're not capping it off with two Avengers movies. Those are the two end movies for Phase 6.
That's what I meant. They're capping it off with two Avengers movies at Phase 6. But the last time they said they were going to cap something off with two Avengers movies in the same year, that didn't happen. They didn't do that. Remember Infinity War and Infinity War Part 2, same year? No. Y'all left us with a year-long cliffhanger in which we had to sit there and wait. So essentially, am I excited? Yes. Do I think Phase 4 sucks like everybody is saying? No. Do I agree with them just dropping, oh yeah, this is the multiverse saga? Not really. Because like you would have to have Sam Raimi not screw up Doctor Strange in order for it to be the multiverse saga. At which point,
but then wouldn't you also have to not have a show called the movie Anything and Everything all at once come out and just completely destroy, like, hey, that's the concept that you were supposed to do, but you didn't do that concept.
Again,
we got two different universes. What is
Sam
this?
Sam Raimi isn't. Yeah. Anyways, I don't know, but I was excited. I'm excited for Thunderbolts. I think that's super.
What is Thunderbolts? I was confused by Thunderbolts and Echo. I was super like, what?
Well, you mean you don't know what Thunderbolts is?
Is Thunder? Well, no, I might know who it is, but I thought it was Thunderbolt. I thought it was just the one dude. I didn't
So
know
there's Thunderbolt Ross, but then he came up with his own like suicide type squad that called the Thunderbolts. At which point, Baron Zemo turned himself into a superhero called. This is during after Onslaught came through in the 90s and killed every motherfucking buddy, like everybody, Fantastic Four, Avengers, everybody. Then there was no superheroes for like a minute. So during that minute, Baron Zemo was like, "Hey, I know. I'm gonna dress up like a superhero and convince these people that I'm actually a good guy when I'm a bad guy." Give me a second, love. I'm just explaining something. So then, at which point he gets him screaming Mimi. I think the Beetle to be this other guy, Mach 1, and a bunch of heroes, a bunch of villains to convince the world they were heroes. And then some of the villains actually liked being heroes. So they were called the Thunderbolts. Then when Citizen V revealed himself to be Baron Zemo, people were like, well, what the hell? We can't trust these people. And then that kind of diverged into a new Thunderbolts, which was led by Thunderbolt Ross. At that point, I think, no, sorry. He was putting it out. Luke Cage was a leader at one point. They had a bunch of random folks in there, like Ghost and just randomness. And then the more kind of recent / known Thunderbolts is Thunderbolt Ross himself being Red Hulk,
right?
Punisher, Deadpool, Elektra, and then Agent Venom.
Yeah, and that was an amazing run. I have that run, and honestly, if I had to like sell my books, let's say I was in a scenario and some people were like, you have to sell the majority but keep like so many, it would definitely be at the top. It's actually a really good read.
Okay.
But
and what about Echo? What about Echo then?
I don't know anything about Echo. I don't know other than what was shown on the shows themselves, and like honestly, like it's gonna be some like assassin type. Like I'm assuming it's gonna be either assassin type style or a like person for hire, because that's what she was. That, or it's gonna be a redemption story of someone who was like from that type of life type thing. Like she was like in gangster stuff and all that type of stuff. But like I don't know. Like she's also a deaf mute, which is like, I don't know. I'm not trying to say anything against the diversity, but like just showing me that diversity, like, you're gonna you're gonna tell me next she's gonna team up with Matt Murdock because of the original Odd Couple. Like, I don't know what you want me to tell me.
Was it the man that can't see, but you could totally see?
Yeah, like the hypocrite. That should be his nickname, the hypocrite, the daredevil.
But I think out of all that stuff that was announced, it seemed like the Daredevil was the thing that everyone was like, "Oh, finally, geez, we've been waiting for this." Like, and they announced that yes, it's the guy from the Netflix show. Yes, we didn't squander him from the last Spider-Man movie. Yes, he's a part of this thing. Don't worry, please calm down. Stop sending. Oh no, actually, someone made a tweet that said, "Oh, isn't it amazing that they brought back Daredevil to the Marvel fold?" And the fans didn't harass, send threatening letters to the writers or anything like that. But it's like, but they don't have a specific person to send it to.
Yeah, you can't reach Marvel like that.
Yeah, like
I've been trying to
I mean, they did that for the Snyder Cut, but I mean, people were taking out billboards for that. People putting money into billboards to say release the Snyder Cut and stuff like that. So that was a bit much. So I don't think that was happening with Daredevil like that. So
I think we all deep down knew that Feige wasn't gonna cast a perfect Daredevil and just be like, "Oh well, you're fired." Like Feige is a smarter human being than that to be like again, the guy literally, we think, but the guy literally like takes people, puts them in movies just so that they'll stay signed. I just saw Yelena Belova and Harry Styles in some sort of movie that like a preview for a movie that they're in that looks like really compelling, really cool. And I'm also like, hey, that's Yelena Belova and Star Fox in a movie. See, like they're always working like that. So I don't think Feige probably went to it's gonna bother me because I can't remember his name. The guy who plays Daredevil, Charlie Cox. Probably wanted to Charlie was like, listen, sit down for 3 years, go do your theater thing. We got you. That was it.
Well, I mean, also it's not like there was a falling out or anything like that. Like I think all of them were just like, hey, we'd like to come back, but we gotta eat, we gotta do other stuff. We can't just sit on our hands doing nothing.
I still have a career.
Yeah. No. Iron Fist is sitting down doing nothing.
Oh yeah, but that's because the world told him to sit down and do nothing.
I mean, it's not like they don't recast people. I mean, War Machine was recast. The main dude from the Warriors 3, I think they originally wanted to get the guy that played Chuck / Shazam in the first Thor movie, but he couldn't be a part of it because he's still finishing off Chuck. So they got another dude, and then in Dark World he came back, but then his character died because most of those people died in that movie. But they still kind of hook it up and all that.
What were the Warriors 3 gonna do? Really, I'm kind of glad. Like I'm glad that they don't. They know what characters are like, yeah, this is good for fan service and just to get rid of them quickly, and then they have ones that they keep.
Well, Sylph is still around, no? Sylph, what's her name?
Yeah. Sif is still around.
Yeah, she's still around,
yeah.
But she was just busy with the other show, so they didn't bring her back in.
They weren't going to bring her back. Sif is cool, so that's why they brought her back. I'm sure. But yeah.
And who else?
What else is there from Hall H that was like very...
Someone made they took like a Simpsons joke. I guess it was like, what's his name? The Myers, the guy, the son of the guy that created Itchy and Scratchy. Yeah. And he's like yelling at everybody in the courtroom. And so he's basically Marvel. And he's like, we're doing this movie, we're doing that movie, we're doing this show, and this and that. What are you doing, DC? And he points to Marge, who's in the crowd, and she's like, we got Shazam 2 and Evil Shazam.
Evil Shazam.
That's just me.
That's an honest, fair.
You know what? Play. At this point, I wouldn't be mad if they just like dove headfirst into Justice Society stuff and just like ignored.
No,
I would love it.
No, they can't do that.
They just need to take it easy.
But why can't they do that?
Because they got. I think Jaws nailed it. Take it easy.
They just need to take it easy. Just okay. People like Shazam. We got The Rock on this. Good. This other movie over here we're trying to get out is imploding in the background. If this guy just stop acting the fool, this person stop acting the fool. We need to just make this into a Batman movie.
What was that show where they had like it was The Simpsons, again another Simpsons reference, where It's Lisa Simpson's born, and she's doing cute stuff, and Marge and Homer are like, oh, look how cute she is. And then Bart comes in like, I'm still cute, and Homer's like, get that ugly, somebody get that kid out of the way. And then you go back to Lisa. That's exactly what DC is doing if they just keep coming back. Everyone's looking at Marvel like, oh, they're so great. Here's DC with another Batman. They're like, no, we didn't ask for you. Get that guy out of the way. Move him back. Like, yes, you could do another Batman. Yes, you could build more Superman. But again, if they just focus hard first on Justice Society, just go for it.
But they already did another Batman, and it was great.
It was great. So don't do anything for 10 years.
I think they don't need to do a team up thing. Like
they need
let
to
phase
flesh.
6 go by. Let 2025 come and then release your shit.
They plan it out. That's what they should use with this time. Plan it out, figure out new characters. It could be characters from the example. You could finally do a Nightwing or a Robin.
Did plan it out, bro. They really did plan that out, and then everyone became a psycho. Everyone. Yeah. Do you really think they bet on Ezra Miller being a psycho? They didn't plan that.
No, that's true. A super psycho.
They go on.
I was gonna say they just do the Supermax movie. Just do the Supermax movie. Do the movie where people already know who the Green Arrow is. Just do the movie where it's just like there's no build up to it. It's just all of a sudden some random dude is in jail and you slowly start to realize, oh, that's the Green Arrow. Oh, okay. And then he's with all these other supervillains that are in a Supermax, and then he has to try to get out to figure out who put him in there. That's like that's a script that's been floating around Hollywood for a very long time.
Oh, that'd be so good.
Just do that. Then you don't have to put it as DC's You can put DC, but just put Supermax. Just leave it, and everyone's like, oh, what the heck's this? And then they go and see it, and hopefully it's good. But
hopefully
just do that. Hopefully it's good. I mean, that's movies in general, no? Hopefully it's good. Hopefully it's good. Because I mean, hey, we're like, oh man, Sam Raimi's gonna do a Marvel movie. That's gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
But I was surprised though. There was two things I was surprised about. One, I was in regards to the announcements. I was kind of a little bit surprised that. I'm laughing that it's Captain America NWO.
Oh,
but,
no! Did you see the? No, it's New World Order.
Yeah, it's New World Order. It's not.
Someone puts. So here's the worst one. The worst meme I've seen. It's Sam Wilson dressed up as Cap in his Falcon outfit, and it says Captain America New World Order. It's above him or below him, and then below him is Hulk Hogan dressed in his NWO getup, and he's spray painting on the wall. And the first thing he wrote is N, and you're like, wait, where's this gonna go?
Dirty.
He writes the N, and you're like, no.
Oh no! Why did you do that? Oh my god!
Right.
I'm blushing. That's so funny. That's so
it could go either way. He's dressed up in NWO colors. It could go either way. We're just terrible people for assuming he's gonna write the rest.
No, he was terrible people first.
Yep. There's gonna be a lot of comments when that movie drops. I can't wait to see these idiot right wingers pop out and be like, Bucky should have been Cap. Like, is he already getting a movie? Leave it alone. Let it go.
One thing, guys.
Uh-huh.
They named Avengers Secret Wars as the end, and they haven't named anything in other than Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
They haven't named anything else in Phase 6. So my question is to you.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think they're gonna put like an X-Men and a Spider-Man movie and actually really do the Secret Wars? Do you think that's how it's gonna go, or do you think they're gonna wait and make us wait all the way till at Secret Wars or after Secret Wars that we're gonna finally see mutants, real mutants?
What do you mean? We've been talking about real mutants. Listen, we got
sorry. Yeah. Namor. He was in 2 seconds. Well, no,
Namor is the first mutant.
He is, but
by technicality.
I agree, but you know what I'm talking about. Like when
people
about
Apocalypse.
Yeah, exactly.
What about Apocalypse?
You mean you want to see your Gambit? You want to see your Remy LaFoe? You want to see your
first of all, I would love.
I know. I call them LaFoe as in
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Fake. Look, listen, it's still better than Forge, regardless of what.
What
I said
better than Forge.
You don't remember the freaking Judgments?
I do.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
I just-
But
I don't know.
anyways, someone got a comic book and someone didn't. That's what I'm gonna say recently. Oh, but
Whatever.
with that being said, all I'm saying is that I just want to see the team. I don't necessarily care. Well, I mean, I do on a personal note. I care who would be on the team, but I would like to see X-Men before Secret Wars happens.
You know what?
Or at least a taste of X-Men before it happens.
I feel you, but I don't want the 90s team. I don't want the cartoon team. I don't want any iteration of that. Why? Because fuck them fanboys, make them read something.
Wait a minute. Also,
I don't agree with that if that's the reason.
That's my reason. Because everybody out there just knows Jim Lee X-Men, Jim Lee X-Men, Jim Lee X-Men. They don't know anything that before that. They don't know what made that team. Nah, we need that story. We can't just have them pop out blue and yellow. Go on.
I do agree with Skinny because there's tons of X-Men. Like there's an insane amount of X-Men.
Yeah.
And also they're coming out with X-Men 97, the cartoon show, which is continuing off of the 90s cartoon show. So that would just kind of muddy everything a little bit.
They also gave Storm a mohawk in that cartoon, and Magneto's in his 80s costume. So I'm like, are you guys doing 80s stories, but set in 97? Like, are they going to do the Mutant Massacre and all that craziness? I don't know.
Remember, in that cartoon, when they cut to the future, Storm has the mohawk.
Yes, that's true.
So that could be part of that. Like, in the future, she's like, you know what? She's just like, you know what? Screw this.
Save my head.
Yeah, I don't care.
I don't know why they put Magneto in that weird costume when that's like a really weird callback. So I hope they're planning on doing that. I want them to do X-Men before Secret Wars, sure, but do we need the core team that we're gonna that we know forever, or can they bring people in? Because I feel if they set it up and they have right off the bat Jean, Cyclops, Gambit, Beast, Wolverine, Jubilee, Storm, Rogue, you're not gonna want to see a Psylocke, a Nightcrawler, a Colossus. Where are you gonna fit those guys? Where are you gonna fit those guys?
Well, first of all, how I see it, you have if you're going to be real about it, you technically need 3, but with those 3 definitely comes a 4th, which is you're definitely going to have Professor X, Wolverine, Cyclops, and Jean. That's just because you have 2 leaders in the group. It's always been Cyclops, with Wolverine being a reluctant, I'm going to support him for the longest time.
Right.
You have Professor X, who you need, and if you're going to have Wolverine and Cyclops, the chances of you not having Jean Grey are almost impossible. But in my opinion, after that, and I'm not saying I don't have preferences and I'm not saying I can't possibly guess who would be better to choose, but I find Gambit, Storm, Rogue, Colossus, Nightcrawler, Kitty Pryde, Iceman, Jubilee, Archangel, to a certain degree Bishop, all these should be interchangeable characters. What I think, if they're going to do this franchise, you could do it I would think they would be able to pull the concept that you have every movie of the X-Men, there's a solid 3 or 4 people you follow their point of view, and everyone else is interchangeable and can come in and out of any scene. Because if you're going to do an X-Men movie, no matter what, you're going to have cameos, because you can't possibly have all the X-Men in one movie unless it's the 3rd of the series.
And you also have all the rights to all these characters. How you're not going to do cameos like the 90s did. The 90s did crazy cameos. They put people that weren't even supposed to be in there. Like Spider-Man's in there, but he's not even supposed to be in it. But they're like, we can kind of fudge it a little bit and skirt that by the people and everything like that. But yeah, I kind of see I see it kind of both of your ways. But I would hope that they would bring in other characters as well. I mean, they did do New Mutants. And I mean, you can, but I'm saying you could bring any of those characters in, because no one remembers that movie. No one's looking out for that movie, and it finally came out. It didn't do anything. So there's characters in there. You could take anybody from New Mutants and do that. You could some people from X-Force, and then they join X-Force or something like that. I don't know.
I'll sell you this. If they go and bring back Ty Sheridan and those guys from X-Men Apocalypse and so forth, I'd like it for them to continue off, if they do an X-Men flick, continue off where Dark Phoenix did happen, but we're not talking about it. Jean is quote unquote dead for the first time.
Mm.
So at this point, you have Storm, Nightcrawler, Beast on the team, and Cyclops. And Cyclops is just recently leaving the team because Homegirl died. And you have Storm and Cyclops battle for leadership like you did in the comics. At least that way, you could build it up. So yeah, here's your boy Cyclops. Will he come back at the end of the movie? We don't know. But for now, this team's being led by Storm, who's gonna have Nightcrawler by her side, Beast, and then the new people you can bring in would be a Gambit, a Rogue, and even a Wolverine, so that it make it look like okay, cool. And then for telekinesis, bring in Psylocke. Then maybe second movie you could be like, all right, Jean isn't so dead. Here she is. She can show up, or they can do the whole Madeline Pryor thing, which is a whole next level madness, but also great. That way you could also factor in Mr. Sinister. And then, yeah, it's just
so confusing.
But what I would add, oh, sorry.
I was gonna say, imagine if soap operas just had superpowers. It just be all this. I thought you were dead. No, I'm not. Oh, I'm gonna marry you because you look like my dead wife. What? My wife is back.
What? Yeah.
But one thing I would add on to what you were saying, though, Skinny, if they were to do your angle, I would also include that Wolverine is absent because he's also grieving. Because one thing I will say...
Yeah, but Wolverine wasn't there in those new movies.
But still, I don't know...
I wouldn't bring in Wolverine right away.
Yeah,
like
that's... I don't know. I don't want to bring Wolverine. I agree with you. I don't know if Wolverine... Because the thing is, if you're going to bring in the X-Men, everyone assumes Wolverine's going to be there.
Yeah,
and I don't know,
and that's what we need to kind of break from. But we also can't have it go in with Wolverine and Jean and Cyclops are automatically doing this love triangle shit.
Yeah.
We want to avoid that, but we want to also establish. Well, I don't even know, man.
I want to. You know what? I want to believe in Jean Grey and Cyclops' love, and then have Wolverine come in and mess up all that and be like, man, this damn Canuck.
Oh no, you gotta remember Warrington. It was Warren that was really the real C blocker, because he had a thing for Jean, and then he saw her feeling Wolverine. He's just like, he literally ran up to Wolverine, ran up on him. He's just like, she'll never let a creep like you. And Wolverine's like, what's wrong with you, wingman? Like, why are you getting mad at me? Like, I just got here. Relax, I'm flirting. Like, chill. Warren was like all bent out of shape, and I think there was one comic where Jean and Cyclops show up to some island that Angel's just on, and like, hold on, yes, you can't hear this, and then he would just greet. The X-Men were weird. They would just greet each other with mouth kissing.
Yeah,
like random mouth kissing. Like Storm and Wolverine are like, oh, looks like we're about to die. Time to mouth kiss, and you're like, why? Like, why are we just doing this?
We're about to die. Well, maybe not Wolverine, but maybe Wolverine trying to get one in before he quote unquote dies.
Yeah, we all gonna die. Wolverine, I'm never gonna see you again. Wolverine's like, yeah, that's it. I'm gonna die. Yeah,
right.
According to Skinny, Warren was right. He is a creep. I'm gonna kiss this girl before I die.
Ant-Man. Okay, Guardians 3. Why do I feel like it's gonna be a cry fest?
Because they're saying that it's going to be an adult one. They already said it. They said it's going to be a dark toned movie.
Yeah, it's kind of. I think that's probably the last time that group, Gunn is going to be with everybody like that.
So Drax and Rocket are dying. Is that it? Like, is that
definitely Drax?
Quill has to die. Quill has to complete that arc. He has to complete that Han Solo arc that Harrison Ford wanted for Han Solo, where he did the thing that's good. Like, he was always greedy. He's always about himself. He does the good thing for the heroes. And in the following movie, he dies because he completed his character arc. And that's the end of that. But he did
the selfless thing where he put his hand on a power stone, not knowing what that would do. I'm pretty
sure. But then again, the second one is like, he finally meets his dad for the first time. He's all about his dad. And then he realized, oh crap, my biological dad is a terrible monster. And then it turns out the guy that I thought was a terrible monster that was beating my dad is actually my dad. Oh no, he dies to save me, and he was basically saving me this whole time. I didn't know. A lot of complicated stuff.
I feel like that was like the sad one. I can't, like, Guardians movies are kind of sad.
Guardian movies, their thesis is basically the man-child that becomes an actual man. And Chris Pratt's character, Star-Lord, is the man-child that is slowly but surely becoming a man, becoming a more responsible person, and realizing that he should be a better person. So I'm assuming that's the thesis continuously going through this whole thing where he's like, oh, I want to be just like my dad. Oh, my dad was a terrible person. And the guy that raised me, I thought I was a jerk. Turns out he was never ready to be a father. And he's just raising me the only way he knew how. And he did it. And he kind of did it, you know? So there's a lot of deep cuts in there. There's a lot of stuff in there to dig through.
But I don't think you're gonna necessarily be wrong in the sense that like most hero movie, most of the Marvel movies now, you've had 3, with the exception of Thor, and you usually have a trio. And there's already been, I mean, even Batista has said he doesn't want to do it anymore.
I didn't even realize Thor made it to 4.
Yeah,
and I just skipped 2. Just skipped 2. I'm like, oh yeah, it's 3. Yeah. Love and Thunder's the 3rd one, and it's like, no, that's 4 of them. I didn't.
Yeah.
Wow.
So he's the only one who's done it, and maybe he's gonna be that special one that does like the 5 or the 6 type thing, but it's probably gonna be where they dismount, man. Like if anything, maybe this is gonna be. If anything, maybe I would hypothesize that something bad's gonna happen to the group, that many either pass away or just like are like, I'm done, and therefore it disbands. And it's going to be and it's going to be due to a consequence of whatever the point of phase 5 to lead to phase 6 is going to be.
I got it. Thank you, Dave, and Wendell, but Dave and Wendell.
Oh,
okay. Quill will die, as will Drax and Rocket. Who remains after that? Groot.
Groot's getting his own short series, his own little short.
But then
Gamora,
there's Groot, Mantis, Nebula, and Kraglin.
Weird. No, isn't Weird Gamora? So, oh no, she's
well,
not.
No,
there.
that's what I'm saying. So out of those
Gamora
3,
too.
out of Groot, Nebula, Mantis, Kraglin, old Gamora or new Gamora is going to lead that new team, and then possible joiners will be Adam friggin' Warlock. And that'll be New Guardians. And if they do the New Guardians, they'll either will leave it like that, or they're going to pull something out of left field and go ahead and get Vance Astro from like the 3000 world, and then the next one will be like actually Guardians 3000, where like they had that like remember the team they featured at the end of the second one, which was like Sly Stallone and Box. And
they were the original Guardians.
Bong, there you go.
Original comic book Guardians,
exactly.
But they were like their own. They were like the top tier Ravengers or something like that.
Exactly. So either they'll do something with those guys next, intertwining both teams, or we're gonna see the New Guardians be Gamora, so on and so forth, as I mentioned, and they might throw in like a Quasar or something to give them somebody OP. But like,
Quasar for sure.
Because I know Gunn does not want to do Nova. Like I know he's not a fan. He's not a big fan of Nova, so he's just like, I'm not.
Nova is like poor man's Green Lantern, to be honest. Like I'm not.
Yes, thank you. Fucking thank you.
But I'm just saying, like, if they were to, if anyone was thinking of like, oh, they're gonna put in Nova, like he does not want to touch Nova at all. Like he's just like, nope.
Yeah, Gunn couldn't really pull Nova, so I feel like Nova would be somebody else, and that would make more sense if they just like, okay, Gamora leads this new team, which is like Groot, who's now an adult after being a kid, who would make more sense for him to be with Gamora because baby Groot was really attached to Gamora. And then when she was gone, he was a teen and all pissed off and shit.
Right.
So like, okay, that makes sense. Yeah, there you go. That's your team.
No. But I don't know. It's gonna. I think the future is interesting. I'm curious. I'm more curious about what's gonna happen in phase 6 because I feel phase 4 was transition, and I feel based off of what's been released for phase 5, although I am happy for some of them, it seems to be a lot of table setting still. I find like this lineup is like, I don't know. I don't mind it being table setting. Like obviously in the other ones we got new. Actually, no, this is the first time they're doing this. This is one where from one transition to the next, there's like
a lull. And just like kind of resetting the yeah, you're exactly right. Resetting the table. Like even like comic books do that. You're like, all right, man, we just had that big event. Okay, let's put everyone back to normal. Here we go. Set back up all the toys. There we go.
But it's also the only time now, like from one phase to the next, you have sequels only in what's it called? TV shows and stuff. Like
Hmm.
example, you're having the Captain America, which is a sequel to the TV show. You had the sequel season 2 of Loki. Sure, you do have Guardians 3, but like, does that really count as a sequel when a whole phase has been gone? Like, you know what I mean? In regards to, like, it is a sequel to the movie, obviously. I'm not questioning that, but like, in regards to how the phases have been released, this is the first time they've been like, this is all quote unquote new stuff. You may know these people, but it's not like blatantly not connected to something else. You know what I mean?
Right.
But who knows how that's gonna go? And I'm curious how much Quantum Mania. I'm curious how much that's gonna have an impact on Loki season 2.
A bunch. I have a feeling that's gonna touch a lot of things over there.
Yeah.
Quantum Mania might be the one to be like, oh shit, so this does all make sense.
Yeah. Yeah. Because like I was gonna say, you need the only movies that they have to like make a big thing happen and that people will for sure go and see, and that is going to be a movie that people have a reason to see, is Guardians and is the Ant-Man movie, because again, they're the only ones who technically already had a franchise that's left, because obviously there was Thor, but whatever.
I'm so surprised that like that's the 4th movie.
And did you see it?
No, I didn't get a chance to see it yet. I want to see it, but I didn't get a chance to yet. Oh no!
I mean, that's my opinion. I mean, it's just
oh no!
It's like, don't get me wrong, there was fun moments, but I don't know. Anyways, we ranted about this the last time. In short, I felt like a lot of things were phoned in.
Oh,
that's my opinion.
Well, they didn't have to prove anything, and
it was direct. It was clearly directed towards kids, which is not a problem. But you have a franchise that wasn't directed towards kids, and I'm invested in it now. I don't want to watch a kids movie. That's my problem. But anyways, that's a high level. But let's talk about other things you've watched. What have you been watching?
Me, I watched this documentary called "Too Funny to Fail." So it's a documentary about the Dana Carvey show. So the Dana Carvey show was a TV show that came out in the 90s. It only lasted 8 episodes, and it was like a sketch show. I remember watching it as a kid, and something about it that I didn't realize when I watched the trailer. When I watched the actual documentary, was that how much people starting out in the industry it actually encompassed, which was pretty crazy. Or not starting out, some people were already established and they're just kind of getting a bigger footing on it. But so people like Steve Carell was in it, Stephen Colbert was in it, and then what was the name of if you ever watch Community, the guy that Star Burns.
Okay.
So that his name is Dino Stampolopoulos, I think, if I remember right. Yeah. So he was also like a head writer on that show. Louis C.K. was a head writer on that show. Charlie Kaufman, who did hold on a second. One of his big movies was Being John Malkovich, Adaptation, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. That guy was working on that show.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like just a lot of really, really talented people were working on the show, but the show wasn't good, I guess is the, like, I mean, it's weird. It's, how do I put it? It's like one of those shows where it basically, Dana Carvey's coming off of his run on SNL, and the two movies, he plays Garth in Wayne's World. So everyone's like, oh, what are you going to do next? So he decides to do his own sketch show, but what he wanted to do was something more, I guess, not subversive, just more counterculture, more crazy, more just out there, something that's more just wild, just like, just more experimental, I guess, for the most part. But the problem is that they're trying, okay, should we go to HBO? No, HBO we could just do a bunch of stuff, but we're not gonna get a lot of eyeballs on us because it's HBO, even though we could do whatever we want. Let's try to make it one of the main 3 right now. and they went with ABC. So
family friendly though.
I think at the time they weren't bought by Disney yet.
Oh.
But then they were bought by Disney as they were making this show. And what ends up happening is that they were going to make their cool, edgy show. And then they only slowly start realizing like, oh, we're the weirdos that are messing up this family friendly entertainment. So their lead-in show was Home Improvement, and Home Improvement was huge back then.
Yeah.
And something that they showed everybody was like, I think also, who else was on that show? What's his name? Robert Smigel. So Robert Smigel does the TV Funhouse on SNL. He also does Triumph the Insult Comic Dog. And he was also a showrunner on Conan O'Brien's show. So anytime they would do, we're going to talk to Bill Clinton, and then like you see the lips move, but the face doesn't. That's him. Yeah. That was him as well. So during the documentary, he says, I don't think I've ever really watched, at the time, I never watched Home Improvement. I heard about Tim Allen. He was a comedian, and, he got busted for drugs at one point. So, I thought he was like kind of like one of us, he's kind of an edgy or like, interesting comedian. And then I actually watched an episode of the show, and then I realized, oh my God, we're squandering what we're getting. And people are watching a show with their kids, and then they're coming into a show that's our show that's like pretty much not for kids.
Yeah.
So they talk about their first episode. I remember watching the first episode. I think they're pretending to be, Dana Carvey's pretending to be Bill Clinton, and he says something to the extent of, I think Bill Clinton said something where he wanted to be the father and the mother of the country or something. And so they took that line and they ran with it. And so he's talking to everybody. So he's addressing the nation as Bill Clinton, and he's like, I want to be I also want to be the mother of our nation. And so what I've done was I had myself surgically be able to give to lactate, and then I've also surgically implanted more nipples on myself. And so all of a sudden he takes off his shirt and he's lactating from his top nipples. Then he has 2 other nipples below those and 2 other nipples below those, and they start handing him dogs, and the dogs are suckling from him. It's just, this is at 9:00 at night on ABC. And it was like the most, they were trying to get them, like the network was trying to get them to like, hey, could you not do that? And they're like, no, we have to do this. This is our show. It's what it's all about, man. Gen Xing it up.
Yeah. Really like
what
new
show,
hippie.
What show is this? Because I've seen this.
The Dana Carvey show.
Yeah, that's the baddest show ever. Like, yo, honestly, I've told many people Dana Carvey's show was like, one of the best TV shows ever.
But so they also, they talk about that. Like I mentioned before, Stephen Colbert got his start on that show. Steve Carell got their start on that show. But like, if you actually sit down and watch the whole thing now, it seems like maybe there might be like 2 or 3 jokes that are gold, and then some stuff that runs a little bit too long, or just for like,
it didn't age well.
Yeah, it's like parts of it didn't age well. Oh my God, in the documentary, they don't really shy away that there was like a really racist part in it, where they're like, and the preface, they're like, the 90s were a different time, all right? And then Stephen Colbert was like, just remember, I was Gregory Peck in this sketch. I wasn't anybody else. So basically, it's the Oscars. They're going to present the foreign film, foreign film Oscar. And they say the first name, which is an Indian name, and then the person thinks they won, and the Indian person is played by Stephen Colbert.
Oh my God.
And he's in the brown face.
Oh no.
And then there's another part where Dana Carvey gets up, like they start going through the rest of the names, and there's an Asian name, and Dana Carvey goes up and he's Chinese, and he's doing the Chinese thing. And then they say another name and they're Arabic, and then it's Louis C.K. and the other guy dressed up as Arab guys with like the hat, the sea cat kind of thing, and you're just like, oh my God, aged like cheese. This no, not cheese. It aged like milk, spoiled milk. It was, and they were just like, yeah, we went a little bit too far sometimes. There was like another person that saw the show. They had a skit called Granny Clown, Grandma Clown, and it's literally a woman, like she's dressed up as a clown. She has a walker. The walker has clown feet on it, and she's walking forward, and it's just super like weird, and like it's not funny. It's a weird thing. It's, you know, when you're a comedian, there's times where you're not trying to be funny, you're trying to bomb on purpose. Norm Macdonald was like very famous for doing that, and like the comedians in the back are laughing because, wow, this guy's really bad. He's purposely being bad. We know he's good, but this is amazing. Oh wow, he's making the crowd just walk out on him and stuff like that. That skit was basically that. It was just very weird. And then like this clown woman had this like ending bit where she would press a button on her walker, and then there's a cream pie, and the cream pie would just slowly like ratchet up to her just super slow, and you're just like, oh my god, this is dumb and terrible. And yeah, so if you do buy the Dana Carvey show on DVD, you can buy it, you know, just be warned, it's not, it's almost like experimental jazz, the TV show.
Is it like, would you compare it to like Kids in the Hall type thing?
No, I think Kids in the Hall was pretty funny for the most part. This like, I was tempted to buy it, and then I started reading the reviews on it, and some people are like, some stuff is like, there's like one or two gold moments, and other times it's just, oh boy, this is a trudge. This is, oh man, this is of its time. Oh man, this is not, you know, like
you're like, this is a portal in time that no one wanted.
Yeah. It was very like like I guess some people were saying like it's very Monty Python-ish, but sometimes there's like one or two skits that are really good, and other stuff is like, oh man, this is, you're trying, and like, you know, you're trying something different, but it's not working. One of the things that did survive of this show was, this is where the ambiguously gay duo cartoon started.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, so this is where it actually started.
Yes.
Ace and Andy are played by Stephen Colbert and Steve Carell. That's those two voices. And then because I guess this was also produced by the creator of SNL. I forgot his name at the moment. Lorne Michaels.
That's why Ex-Presidents was on this too, right?
Yes. So they were like, yeah, sure, I'll take that. I'll take those cartoons and anything else you're going to do for it. And Steve Carell and Stephen Colbert said, anytime they ask us to do that cartoon, we'll do it, because that show made our career. So if we didn't have that show, we wouldn't do it. So, and even the people that, like, even Robert Smiley was like, I every once in a while I'll do the show. I'll do the ambiguously gay duo, and I'll ask them to come. They don't have to come. They're big names. They don't need to, but they still show up. So I'll still do it if they're willing to do it. So I thought that was pretty interesting. And when it goes back to them, they're like, yeah, like this show made our show. He made us. Dana Carvey made us. We're basically Dana Carvey's one of our heroes, one of our sketch comedy heroes. And yeah, if they ask us to do something, we'll totally do it, you know? But yeah.
When I first saw Ambiguously Gay Duo, and I remember it was 10 p.m. on a Tuesday night, because that's when, 9:30 on a Tuesday night, because that's when that show was on. And I was like, boy, this is gonna be like, this is 90, either 5 or 6. I was like, nah, man, like there's 96. No way this is not going over well without somebody getting fired. I remember going to the schoolyard the next day and I was like, listen, you guys y'all need to see this. This is the Dana Carvey show, Ambiguously Gay Duo.
Yeah.
Greatest thing ever. Mama. You want mama? I will bring you to mama. I'm sorry. Hold on. This kid. Judge it.
But yeah, definitely the documentary is really, really good. It's really funny. And definitely worth a watch. For sure worth a watch. Just seeing all those guys when they're really young and just like, whoa. And so even Robert Smigel is like, I thought the way to make a good show is just you get the most talented people and you make a show. Apparently I was horribly wrong.
There's a lot of planning and a lot of work to be done.
No, they did a lot of planning, did a lot of work, but they did 8 episodes, only one season. Oh, Bob Odenkirk is also in there too. But there's only one unaired episode, and it seems like that was the last episode, and they just showed another episode of Coach at the time. So they
Oh
didn't
my
even.
god!
I remember that, and I was pissed.
Yeah. So
yeah.
oh, and so also the running joke of the show was that they always had a different sponsor every episode. So first episode was Taco Bell, then the Bill Clinton has tits thing happened, then the next episode was Mug Root Beer, then the following episode was Mountain Dew. And then on that episode they said, what does Mountain Dew look like? It looks like good yellow drink. Like they were purposely saying a bunch of stuff, but not saying that it looked like pee on purpose. Like even though I was a kid, I was watching. I was like, you're gonna say it looks like pee, but you're not going to because you know you shouldn't, and you know you're gonna get into trouble. Then after that it was Diet Mug Root Beer, so Mug stuck around. Then the episode after that was Pepsi stuff. So anything that was related to Pepsi.
Yeah.
And then the last one was a local Chinese food restaurant called Szechuan Dynasty. They were basically the restaurant that they would buy food from. They would buy Chinese food from. So yeah, so every time they kept pulling their funding or whatever, there was like another one, but they were like, that was the crux of the joke. Like we weren't expecting them to stick around. So it kind of worked out. There was another one where I think after their big fallout, they made up a show called Watching TV, and oh my god, it was a funny roundabout way of doing something. But I'll just leave it at that. But yeah, definitely look for that documentary. I think it's on Hulu, called Too Funny to Fail.
All right. Well, I don't have access to the music, so Skinny. Oh no, is he there? No, he's not there. He usually does the Geek
I'll gotta do the music.
Right,
Now
so,
it's the news.
So for first news, I mean, we were talking about a bunch of Comic-Con information, but still something new came out. For the Avengers movies, they will not be directed by the Russo brothers. It'll be directed by the Shang-Chi film director. I hope I don't brutalize his name. Destin Daniel Caton.
Oh, okay.
So that's interesting. I mean, I think, I wouldn't say the directing was necessarily I think I liked Shang-Chi. I didn't see many bad things in it. I think he knows how to give the Disney feel. So I think that could be good. Although I am surprised that the Russos aren't coming back.
I think they're just like, oh man, this is, oh boy, like maybe they want to do something else and bring it to somewhere. I mean, not bring it to somewhere else, but like that's a heavy undertaking. 2 movies in that short amount of time. Yeah,
it's a lot, but I mean, I guess so is the toll for wanting to make stardom, great things. I don't know how.
Yeah. Well, I thought their whole thing is that they wanted to do Secret Wars at least.
Yeah, at least that's what I'm saying. But mind you, when I went to this site, because earlier today when people were talking to me, they were saying, well, it's both movies, but in this one, it specifically says movies 1 of 2 that will close out. So he's doing the first one. So maybe they are just holding them back to be like, well, obviously we're bringing the Russos,
right?
Because like you said, they've been like slow rolling, like we're gonna do this if you let it bring us back. That's the only reason why we'll come back is for this movie. And like, so you made the movie. You want to make the movie, you said. Yeah. So I think I think that's exactly how it's going to plan out. Tron and Batman the Animated Series voice for Ra's al Ghul, David Warner dies at 80.
Yeah, I heard about it. Super sad.
Yeah, it's super sad. Well-lived life. You have 2 amazing. I mean, Tron, I think, is in the books, and I think Ra's al Ghul as the Batman, like that's the voice. He's the voice that I read or that I hear when I read Ra's al Ghul. So yeah. Thank you, sir. That's what I'll say to that guy.
Yeah, and definitely for Tron, that movie really spawned reboot. It spawned, bits like Matrix, anything that has excuse me, anything that has to deal with being in a machine, like that's the seed.
And
right
it's
there
also
for it.
and it's also like, you know, the pillar of the of doing things CGI, if you really think about it. It's like,
Yeah.
you know, you have Star Wars and you have Tron. Tron
Mhm.
doesn't get like that nod that often because it's not such a big franchise. But
right.
I would say Star Wars, Star Trek to a certain degree, but Star Trek they always found ways to get around having to be in space and stuff. So like
Mhm.
it's more
Yeah, I'm on the bridge. I'm walking
yeah.
in a hall.
Yeah.
I think for Star Wars, the only thing that was actually computer, like at least in like in the 70s, was just like when they were doing the projection, not the projection. They were showing you, oh, this is what we have to do to like destroy the Death Star. So like they get the plans. It's like all in 3D, like a what do you call it? Like a skeleton, I guess, of what it looks like. That was actually done in CG.
Yeah, okay.
That particular part in there. Everything else is very much practical and small models and everything.
And just because Doc isn't here this week, we talk about hopefully without a Dan Harmon joke. But Rick and Morty season 6 is going to premiere in September. I'm surprised considering the last time they usually take long, and this is pretty quick compared to usual. So good on them. They listen. But you know, that's it, folks. Skinny, you got anything to tell people before we sign out? Oh, so Skinny's not there. Wendell?
Go check out Transformers Slag on YouTube. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
And I'm here. Oh man, what was it that Brian always likes to say? Wear your Jimmy caps or whatever.
Safe sex, good sex.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, no, we're out.
Take care, everyone. Peace.
Peace. I lost a kid. I don't know.